Welcome to Bariatric Business Accelerator. This is the podcast dedicated to busy weight loss practitioners and their teams who want to systematize, simplify, and accelerate the growth of their new or existing weight loss practice. I'm your host, Carol Clark. I've been helping practitioners do this for over 20 years, and I absolutely love it. When we're recording this, it's actually a new year, a beginning of a new year. And this is a time where oftentimes we'll look at different things going on in our practice and we want to change things. And one of the things that you might be looking to change is how your patient care is delivered, to either systematize it or simplify it, or increase the number of patients that you're bringing into your practice, increase the conversion from initial query into becoming an established patient. All those things. But today, in order to help with that, I want to encourage you to, if you haven't yet, document your patient care process, or their algorithm is what I call it. So the algorithm from how you're attracting these patients into your practice, how that conversion is occurring until they become an established patient, and then your care delivery system after that. And I know that sounds like a lot, and maybe you have one in place. If you're a bariatric surgery practice, you may have this in place because it can be something that you share as you're going through your certification procedure for being a center of excellence. But it's one of those things that really is important. And I like to back it up, not just from a patient care perspective, but back it up from your marketing perspective. So what you want to do is create that care path, and it goes from marketing all the way through till then their patient and then their care after that. So it really helps you do a number of things, and then I'll dive into how I like to create it. It helps you clarify and document what happens at each and every step. It helps you see where you're covering your bases really well and where patients may be falling through the cracks. It also gives you the different areas where you may start to measure metrics, and not where you may, where you will and should create metrics so that you're following that. It also can be a great orientation tool for new employees because it helps guide them through the process of how you acquire patients, how you convert them into patients, and how that care delivery is. And for every single team member that you have, they're all sort of salespeople for you. So they need to know that process. They need to know how what their role is and why it's so important throughout this process for them to understand it and what their role is with regards to that. Having it documented can be a great orientation tool. I even encourage you to have your new hires go through the process so they can see exactly what it's like for patients, because oftentimes they can have some suggestions as a fresh set of eyes as to some potential ways that you can improve it. The other thing is it helps from a patient's perspective. When you have that all well mapped out, it makes it easier for you and your team to describe that to the patient. It helps set their expectations. It helps you create your care pathways, and it helps you make sure that they don't have unrealistic expectations for how this process goes in your particular practice. The other thing, it guides any necessary changes. It can identify bottlenecks, as I mentioned, and it can help you identify where those changes need to take place. And you don't have to get all fancy pants about it. You don't have to have a huge algorithm, boxes, circles, lines, all that sort of thing. It can be a simple linear document that kind of goes through how people are attracted to your practice and then how they're converted. And so it can start with, what are your major ways that you're acquiring patients? It can be patient referrals, physician referrals, online marketing campaigns, certain online funnels that you're having, any specific marketing paid campaigns that you have going, and also some of your organic efforts that you have, meaning your blogs, your webinars, your videos, those sorts of things that you have going on from an organic asset that's out there all the time, converting people into patients or into new leads without having an ad spend that necessarily goes along with it. So you have all these listed out, and then they come into your predictive funnel, and you can take a look at, are you nurturing them properly? Are you gathering the information you need? Are you able to separate who's interested in weight loss surgery versus medical weight loss if you provide both services? Someone who's just interested or comes in and then really has more of an interest in just the medical side and perhaps retail sales, or if you offer other aesthetics or hormone replacement, depending on the structure of your practice. I see it can be done lots of different ways. I've done it lots of different ways in our practice, and I work with lots of different practices who are set up virtually, with brick and mortar, a hybrid. There's all sorts of different ways, but taking a look first at your marketing channels. This will also help you identify what your marketing channels are, and it also will perhaps inspire you, if you're not already, to measure your return on investment for any ad spend that you have. Or even for the organic methodology, what are you spending to get that organic content marketing out there? And are you really getting your return on your investment? So you look at your marketing. It all comes down into new leads that you're getting into your practice. Hopefully you have a systematized way to track those. It could be a software. There's a number of them. I worked with practices utilizing a number of different ones. I have my favorites, but we work with whatever you have. Or it could be a spreadsheet that you're utilizing. Spreadsheets work really pretty well for most practices until you get to a pretty high volume, which is where most people want to go. So anytime you're over 100, 150 weight loss surgery cases a year, or that sort of thing, you may want to switch over to something that integrates with your EMR or really has a succinct way to track your leads without losing your shirt, because you want to lose a whole retire. And you want to blow your return on investment for that. So you want to make sure it's a good return on investment. So first we want to have our marketing. We want to make sure we're getting qualified leads. And then I'm doing a separate podcast totally on how you're tracking those leads and how to increase your conversion rate. But for purposes here, once they come in, what is the process for how you nurture them along? How do they know what the next step is to get started with you? How do they start? And then what happens from there? What is a consult look? What do they have to qualify for before they can have a consult? Who's talking to them? The entire process gets documented through to that consult and then all the way through patient care. The good thing about this too, especially with depending if you use Google Docs or if you use a different system wherever you're housing all of your training materials, you can actually document this all out and have a link to a document with further instructions. So if I'm a new employee, I can actually see how does that initial consultation take place? What's required for it? Who's responsible for it? How do we get make sure that their benefits are validated? How do we make sure that they are a qualified candidate? You can go through all those different roles, and it actually then helps from a cross-training perspective. And it also gives all of your team members a better respect and understanding for what their colleagues are doing, so that they are less likely to have a silo, meaning it's me against them. We're doing everything great in our little department here, but they're not doing their job. So it helps to prevent some of those things that can come up, and it also improves teamwork, I really think, as these teams work together. So mapping out your algorithm is something that is really helpful. When I start working with practices, I like to look at their algorithm. I also do more training on this within Bariatric Business Accelerator. If you're not a member, please join. We also get one-on-one time together every month, which is great for me and you and your teams. I really love getting to know the teams and really helping them to work alongside of them and to help guide the process for any areas where there may be hiccups or issues that are in place, and also to share a variety of ways to do things to, of course, systematize, simplify, and accelerate the growth of your practice. So thanks for listening to this episode of Bariatric Business Accelerator. If you want more information, just reach out to me at Carol, Karol, at weightlosspracticebuilder.com. I personally respond to all the emails that I get, or just check out our website, weightlosspracticebuilder.com, for all the different free resources that we have there. If you go to weightlosspracticebuilder.com/free, you can see lots of them that help you in your practice. And if you ever want to work more closely together, just reach out or visit bariatricbusinessaccelerator.com. That has all the details of membership. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you don't have your algorithm, I encourage you to document it. And like I say, you don't have to get all fancy, just really having it down on paper and looking. Oftentimes it can open your eyes up to places that can be systematized, things that are really way more complicated than they have to be, so that you can simplify it and really help improve that throughput from initial inquiry into becoming a established patient and a patient who is loving your practice and telling everybody about it. So have a great day. I look forward to talking with you hopefully soon, and take care.